View pin. View profile. Pin. View pin. View profile.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Okay, hello everybody. I want to call this meeting to order for the Committee of Adjustment for August 19, 2025. And committee members in attendance this evening are Kevin Antonitis, Fabia Billing, Adam Mottershead is online, and myself, Daniel Collins. Staff members present this evening are Walter Basic, the Manager of Planning, in the back there. Spencer Pierce, Manager Development Engineering, also in the back. Sarup Sandhu, a planner, over in the back as well. And beside me is Delhara Abiwardena, the Secretary Treasurer. So I'm going to just kind of talk about some overview of how the committee works to begin. Then the committee has some busy work to do. And after that, we're going to hear the four cases that we have for this evening. So this is going to be live streamed. So members of the public are advised that our meetings are live streamed by the town of Grimsby. Individuals and media may be audibly and or visually recorded during this meeting. As a reminder, all electronic devices are to be in silent mode during our committee meeting. For an overview of the meeting procedures, the purpose of the application and relative correspondence will be heard, following which the applicant will be given the opportunity to address the application. Any person concerned with the application will then be given an opportunity to speak. At the conclusion of the discussion, the committee will render a decision and advise of any applicable conditions. Copies of the decisions will be mailed to the applicant or agent and to any other person who files a written request. To request a copy of the decision, please email Delhara Abiwardena, the Secretary Treasurer, and her email is coa@grimsby.ca. The applicant, the town of Grimsby, the minister, or a specified person or public body has the right to appeal either the decision itself or the conditions of consent to the Ontario Land Tribunal within 20 days of the date of giving notice under subsection 17 for a consent application and 20 days of the date of a decision for the minor variance application. Specified persons and certain public bodies include public utilities, but do not include any individual or community association. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to comment on the applications being heard. Please address your comments and questions through me, the chair. Each participant will be provided 5 minutes to speak. Each participant may only speak once. And if you hear your comment presented by someone else, please do not duplicate the remarks. When you are called, we ask that you state your name and address for the record. Now, we have some folks online, and as I said, we do live stream, so all communication will happen through the lectern. There's a microphone, and we have to speak through the microphone, just that way we can, everyone online can hear, and when it is posted onto YouTube later, we'll also be transparent, because that's the key to this. Agencies commenting on applications may request that certain conditions be imposed. Voicing objections to these conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. All members of the committee have viewed the properties on the agenda tonight and are familiar with the lands that are subject to the applications. So that's just an overview of what we're going to be doing. Now we're going to do just a bit of busy work with the committee. And do any members of the committee have a pecuniary interest with respect to the applications that are before us this evening? I see none. We're going to, we will now consider the adoption of the agenda for this evening. Would someone like to make a motion for the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion, actually, that we change the order of the agenda, that we move 18 Marlowe Avenue for the convenience of the room to the first application. So that would be A2825 in front of A2725.
Okay, thank you. We have that, so we're going to move 18 Marlowe up. Do we have a seconder for that? Yep, okay, thank you. So moved by Member Antoniadis, seconded by Member Billing. We'll put it to a vote. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand. I see no one opposed, so that is carried. Are there any requests for withdrawal or adjournment this evening?
None.
None. Okay, thank you. Have the committee members had the opportunity, well, actually, I know we've had the opportunity to review the minutes, and I have a motion by Member Antoniadis and seconded by Member Billing that the minutes from July 15, 2025 be approved. Let's put that to a vote with the committee. All in favor, raise your hand. I see no one opposed. That is also carried. So now on to the applications. We have 4 applications tonight. The first application, as amended, will be A2825 for 18 Marlowe Avenue. I'll turn it over to the Secretary-Treasurer to present that application. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just getting this up right now. Okay, so the purpose of this application is to comply with operating a home occupation in an accessory unit. And the variance requested is to permit a home occupation solely in an accessory structure, whereas a home occupation is only permitted within the dwelling unit. This is an image of the site plan, which was circulated along with the notice of hearing. This is an image of the neighborhood for context. These are the current conditions on site. And these are the agencies that have provided comments, and I will summarize those comments for you now. Planning staff have no objection to the approval of the minor variance in the context of the 4 tests set out under Section 45 of the Planning Act, and are of the opinion that the minor variance meets the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, is appropriate for the development of the lands, and is minor in nature. Public Works staff do not have any conditions or comments, neither does the region or the NPCA. In addition to that, 40 letters of support have been received for this application, and I will summarize the details of those letters for you. So basically, the letters were also attached to the agenda, so I'm not going to read out like all the names of the people who provided these letters. But I have them in print. If anyone wants me to read anything out, I can do that. And so these were all received at the time of publication of the agenda. And basically, these are the three main items that have been expressed in these letters. Exceptional care and trust, that is that Urban Tales, run by Therese and Karen, provides safe, loving, and professional care where dogs are treated like family. Their compassion, consistency, and attention to each animal's needs create peace of mind for owners. And then secondly, the positive community impact. Neighbors note the daycare is discreet, quiet, and well managed with no noise or traffic issues. Clients highlight how the service is thoughtfully designed for safety, comfort, and socialization, making it a true home away from home. And finally, essential support for families. For busy and working families, Urban Tales is more than a daycare. It is a lifeline that enables them to balance work, personal commitments, and pet ownership while ensuring their dogs are happier, healthier, and well socialized. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that. Now I'd just like to call the agent or applicant to come over to this microphone, if you don't mind. And you can speak briefly to the application, and what I'm most curious, just for folks online and for the record, is the nature of the business that will be run in the accessory building.
So the accessory building...
Oh, sorry, before you do that, could you just put your name and address for the record? Thank you.
My name is Therese DeGrace, and I live at 18 Marlowe Avenue, the site of Urban Tales. The accessory unit, as it stands and as it has been operating for the last 6 years, we call the Dog Lounge, was an office structure that was there prior to us living on the property. And it is the place that we use for rest if there's inclement weather, and it's kind of our hub. The rest of the time we are outside. We require that existing structure as a space for us to hang leashes, dogs can have a nap, any of those things.
Okay, I'm just going to turn it to the committee while you're up there. And are there any questions from the committee at this point about this application? Yeah, go ahead.
Through the chair. My only question is, you have been operating this business for 6 years?
Yes.
In Grimsby?
Yes.
Okay. And you're just expanding your business?
We're not expanding at all. We're keeping it exactly how it is.
Oh, okay.
This is a structure we've always used, and it was actually used as an office dwelling before we even purchased the home. It's a garage that is separate from our home.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I
a
was
little
just
bit
trying to look at the
recessed.
site plan. Okay. Okay, I see that. Okay. So it's an existing business and you're just refurbishing that unit?
We're not refurbishing anything at all. It's staying exactly how it is. It's just an accessory unit. We don't have any of our business inside our home. All of it is the garage, well, what was the garage, what is the dog lounge, what is the office that was existing. We are not expanding anything. Everything is on the original footprint.
Okay.
We've
All right.
changed nothing on the property since we moved in.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
You're good with that?
That's a great answer.
Yeah, thank you very much. Any other questions from the committee? Yeah, go ahead.
Through the chair, just a question for you. What triggered the need, or maybe it's staff, what triggered the need for the variance all of a sudden if they've been existing for 6 years? Was it a complaint-based request or, and then the other question, second question is how many dogs would you have on the property at one time typically?
26 dogs. So we have never had a noise complaint, any complaint whatsoever. We had a complaint, we believe, from a gentleman who lived quite about 5 streets away. I won't get into details of it, but I think you know about the awnings and everything that's happening in Legacy Homes. That's the guy, right? Same guy. So do we have a complaint from people who live on either side of us or the lady across the street? No. But 5 streets away, our sheer existence is a problem for that guy.
Sorry, there was a two-part question. Sorry, I cut staff off, but
Through you, Chair. So the complaint came in, so bylaw went and investigated a complaint for a kennel. However, this does not classify as a kennel in our bylaw. There's no overnight boarding. In fact, it's just a doggy daycare. So while the bylaw, or they're in compliance with the bylaw order in the sense that they're not a kennel, we did flag that they were operating in an accessory structure. So we're just bringing the applicant up to compliance, and after the compliance, there should be no concerns, essentially.
Good, thank you. Any other questions from the committee? I see none. I'm going to put it to the public right now, and what I'm going to ask is there anyone in opposition to this that would like to come and ask some questions to the applicant? I'll give you a chance now for the people that want to voice that. Okay, let's try this. Raise your hand if you're in support of this application. I have never seen 53 pages of letters in support before. It's very nice to see the community rally around this business. I see shirts have been made for this event. Am I right for that? It's very heartwarming to see on this side of the committee, a community come together for that. And so I'm going to turn it back to the committee. Do we want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
Oh, gosh. And did you know there are 80% of Canadians own a dog? 80%, including me. I can support this application. It's a new business. It'll bring opportunities to the community, to the owner. It's already in existence. No one has a problem with it that lives around you. So let's move forward. I let it be resolved that minor variance application A28-25 for 18 Marlow Avenue to permit a home occupation solely in an accessory structure, whereas a home occupation is only permitted within the dwelling unit, as per section 4.15A of zoning bylaw 14-45 as amended, be approved with no conditions.
Okay, thank you for the making that motion. Do I have a seconder for that? You're going to second that? Okay, thank you. So it's moved by Member Billing, and it's seconded by Member Antonitis. And we're going to put this to a vote as well. All in favor, raise your hand. I see none opposed. Everybody, you already had your chance to raise your hand. So it is approved and carried. So just note there's a 20-day appeal period before the decision is final and binding, but the committee sees that this is a great business, and we have approved this motion. Now, everyone is welcome to stay for the next 3 applications, but if you're feeling like you want to go, you're also welcome to leave at this point, and I'll wait a few minutes before we clear the room. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to our next application now. And the next one is A2725 for 4 George Street. And I'm going to turn it over to Delhara for that application.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the purpose of this application is to permit a maximum lot coverage of 31%, whereas a maximum lot coverage of 25% is permitted. And the variances, these are the variances requested. Secondly, to permit a maximum height of 5.54 meters for an accessory building, whereas a maximum height of 4.5 meters for an accessory building with a peaked roof is permitted. To permit a minimum setback from rear lot line for an accessory building of 0.76 meters, whereas a minimum setback from rear lot line for an accessory building of 1.3 meters is permitted. To permit a garage projection of 1.3 meters from the front of the porch, whereas no part of the garage shall project beyond the front wall of the first story of the dwelling. Sorry, yeah, there's a few more. I actually missed the first slide, so I'm going to read that as well. So the purpose is to demolish an existing dwelling and construct a new dwelling and accessory building, which is the garage. And these are 3 more variances that are required in order to do this. To permit a minimum front yard of 8.11 meters, whereas the minimum front yard of 9.11 meters is required based on the average of the 2 neighboring homes. To permit a minimum interior side yard setback of 1.25 meters, whereas the minimum interior side yard setback of 1.8 meters is required, and to permit a driveway entrance of 11.5 meters, whereas a maximum driveway entrance of 6 meters is permitted. These are the variances I already read out. This is an image of the site plan, which was circulated along with the notice of hearing. This is an image of the neighborhood for context. These are the current conditions on site. These are the elevations of what is proposed that have been submitted. And these are the agencies that have responded. I will summarize those comments for you now. Planning staff have no objection to the approval of the minor variance, subject to the following condition. The driveway can be 11.5 meters on the private property, but is to taper down to 6 meters at the public right-of-way. Planning staff have reviewed the application in the context of the 4 tests set out under Section 45 of the Planning Act, and are of the opinion that the minor variance meets the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, is appropriate for the development of the lands, and is minor in nature. Public Works staff have no conditions and 1 comment. Public Works will not support the proposed 11.5 meter driveway entrance. The maximum driveway entrance width is 6 meters. The region and the NPCA have no comments or conditions. The 1 letter of objection from Rosemary Stefanak at 46 Casablanca Boulevard was received, and that was included in the agenda. I can read it out for anyone who has not seen it in the agenda or who wants to go over it once again. Just let me know if you want to. And other than that, it's back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'd just like to call on the agent or applicant to come up to the lectern and speak to the application as to why the need for all the variances. Is the owner applicant here? Yep. And before you speak, just if you wouldn't mind your name and address for the record. Thank you.
My name is Alfonso Alaimo. This is Rosa Morielli, my fiancée and owners of Fort George. The reason for the minor variances is to create room for a driveway that goes to a separate garage at the back to house a boat that that I have. It's something that's it's a lifelong hobby that I have, so it's not something that I'm going to just, get rid of in a year or two. It's something that I'll have pretty much forever. So basically, I'm creating a wider driveway to make it safe for me to navigate my vehicle, bringing the boat back to the garage, where instead of being in front of on a driveway. So curb appeal is actually very important to us. So it's a big investment that we're doing, and one of the things that it's 11.5 meters that we originally asked for, but it's again, it doesn't have to be 11.5 meters. I know 6 meters is the minimum, and part of a minor variance is, there is exceptions to certain rules, and depending on how important it is. But this is obviously not important to anyone else besides me and us. But again, it's something that the driveway is going to be in front of our house garage, and there's 14 feet of driveway on the side. The problem is that between my truck and my boat, there's 43 feet, and the driveway is approximately going to be from the culvert about 35. So I have to come into my driveway already. I'll be over top of the culvert when I have to actually make the turn. And if no one's used it or backed up a trailer, it's not easy. So I have to navigate, and I have a feeling that because 6 meters, it may not be enough. Again, I would be happy with 8 meters, a couple extra meters if possible, just for safety. Because I feel when I go to make my turn to straighten my truck out, I'm going to end up in the ditch. And the only other thing is to disconnect my boat, move it by hand, and then reattach my truck when I get past the corner. But again, I'm not a young guy, and at some point, it's gonna, even now, I'm not sure if I can, but I'm gonna do what I have to be able to house this. So again, I'm asking, I'm not asking for the 11 and a half. I'll take whatever I can just to make it safer for me to navigate onto my property and towards the back. So that would be about what I'd like to say about it.
Yep, thank you. I have a quick question. Just to the accessory building height, is the increase in height from 4.5 meters to 5.54 meters due to the size of the boat?
It's to do with the garage door and the height. So, creating space. It's the angle of the roof is not a high pitch. So, in order to accommodate what I'm doing, it has to be a little bit higher. I mean, I can drop the angle, but then there's other issues with ice and water and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to make it a decent angle, but again, it's not anything crazy. It's just a typical pitch of a roof. So again, it's just a normal height of a building like this.
Okay, is there, just staying on that accessory building, is there going to be storage above, like 2-story kind of deal?
Storage at all. In fact, I only have 1 foot of space above the garage door, and then that's part of the roof. So, and it's not much of a roof. So again, it's a pretty, I feel anyways, it's a pretty low number to stick to, again, with a building that, in those dimensions, I guess. So again, I could lower it, but it may actually affect the garage door, where I may have to go with a shorter one, which I don't know if I can be able to get in.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Are there any other questions from the committee members? Yeah,
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we have drawings of the accessory dwelling at all? Like, I see the house, but I don't see the drawing, because that would be my concern too, is you're requesting a reduction in the side yard, I think it was, but then also increasing the height of it. So it's like a double whammy to the neighbors. So I'm just curious what the design looks like of the accessory dwelling.
Through you, Chair, I can come by and just show you those quickly. I'm just going to find them in the folder.
And then, the second one I have a concern with, I kind of agree with the neighbor and engineering about the width of the driveway. Like, I hear your concern about the boat, but you're talking about kind of paving the whole, almost half the front yard based on that width. 11 meters is about 33 feet. I don't know what the width of the lot is, 60 feet or 65 feet, 75? Yeah, so that would be my concern too. I kind of agree with the condition put on by Public Works. I mean, maybe we can compromise and reduce it a little bit, at least at the driveway, the public road allowance. But those would be my two concerns, is the height of the accessory dwelling combined with a setback reduction request in the accessory dwelling, kind of, you know, overshadowing the neighboring property owner. I don't know if they're here or not. And then the driveway width.
Okay, thank you. I just want to invite Mr. Pierce to speak to this from Public Works on the 6 meters and where we arrive at that number. Please.
Thank you, through me, Mr. Chair. So just want to clarify one thing. So committee, obviously, you guys know your responsibilities and your duties. This is for the private property, so I don't want to get the confusion of the private property versus the public right-of-way. So the variance is for the 11.5 meters on the private property. The Public Works comments comes within regards to the right-of-way. So if you support the application as is, the minor variance, the 11.5 meters would be the section on the private property. It would taper down towards 6 meters within the right-of-way. And then just to add on to, or to answer for you, Mr. Chair, the 6 meters is, we look at it as a typical road lane is 3 meters. So 6 meters, that's typically would be enough room for 2 cars to be side by side with doors opening. And then it also is generally accommodating for most frontages. Obviously, as we move forward with intensification, lots shrinking, that number for some lots could even be large. But for this lot, it is, the 6 meters is definitely appropriate in the sense of the amount of frontage they have. We could always take back and look if it was 6.5, 7, 8 meters, something like that in the right of way. But the 11.5 we see as too much, too large.
Okay, thank you. So that, just to stay with you, Mr. Pierce, that would be a separate conversation between the owner and Public Works as to the right-of-way that the town has. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We just wanted to provide the comment so that there wasn't confusion if the 11.5 meters was approved here, that it meant the 11.5 meters was approved in the right-of-way.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, go ahead, Sarup.
Through you, Chair, I just want to make it clear that planning staff have no objection to the 11.5 at the private side of the property. So the condition is just for the tapering of the public right-of-way, just to stay consistent with Public Works. So I just want to make that as clear as possible, is that we're fine with the 11.5 on the private side.
Okay, thank you.
Through
So-
you, Chair.
Yeah, so just for clarification, Chair, and through staff, the variance was not at the driveway entrance. It says a driveway entrance, right? The variance is to permit a driveway entrance of 11.5 meters, whereas a maximum driveway entrance of 6 meters is permitted. So by approving the variance at 11.5, we would be saying that it can go right to the road, traveled portion of the road, or it would stop at the private property boundary and then would have to taper to 6. Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, I don't have a problem with that. So I thought it was to bring it 11.5 right to the pavement of the roadway. All right.
Okay, any questions from the, yeah, go ahead.
Through you, Chair, I have a question. So if the driveway will be tapered down to, what is it, 6.0 meters, what happens to the tree, the very prominent tree that's in the front of your yard that has probably been on that street since it was very small? What happens to that tree in your plan?
The way it is right now, if we do a 6 meter, no trees are actually affected by the driveway. It goes between some trees that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it does not affect, if we went 11.5 meters at the entrance of my driveway, then that would mean that there was a tree that would have to come down. That's on the property line.
I mean, I think that if we're going to compromise on this with you, there will be a condition, and you mentioned your boat, it might be difficult. I mean, all those people you have on the boat all summer can come out and help you navigate that boat to the back. Oh, okay. That's my question, that's it.
Thank
Chair.
you. We have some pictures that Dahara is going to put. put on the screen.
The roof tapers for the pitch. It's literally just above my garage door. So it's not a high garage door. It's only, I believe it's only 9 feet. So it's a typical size door, but it's 12 feet wide to accommodate my boat. But the height is a normal garage door height. And again, it doesn't seem out of place in height. I'm not even sure what I would be able to do unless we just reduce the angle of the roof, but then that's just going to cause me issues with water and ice.
Okay, thank you. Is that good with you? Yep. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions from the committee right now? Okay, I see none. Okay, I do have one more. As Member Antonitis said, you're proposing that you go higher on the accessory building and closer to the property line on the back. What's the purpose of pushing it so close to the back?
It's to create space because where the house to the property line and with the angle of the garage door, I actually have to turn my boat inwards to make that. I have a bend at the front to get into it, and then I have to bend at the back to get into the garage, inside the garage. So the more space I have, it's safer for me to navigate that corner of my house and able to basically get into the garage. And the more space I have, that's why I've pushed the house forward 1 meter as well, to create more space between the house and the garage.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
Say something.
Yeah, please.
My biggest concern is the ditch, like ending up in the ditch, and that's where I was a little bit concerned about. That 6 and then going wider is him trying to make that turn and getting that boat in the back. I'm worried about safety. That's my biggest concern.
And I also have a license to drive bigger vehicles. I have experience with trailers, and I know what I'm facing. No one else would know that, but again, someone that actually drives a trailer would know. And again, doing the angles and the measurements, I feel like my front tire, and it's close, but it's, I need a little extra. But I don't need 11 and a half, but, a couple extra would make it safe. And again, in the end, I don't want to have an accident. It's about safety more than anything.
Yep, thank you. Very good. Any other questions from committee? I see none. Okay, is there anybody in the audience or online that wishes to speak?
Oh, it's Rosemary Stefanik.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I'm the rear lot neighbor.
Yep, have you got a question for the applicant?
Yeah, so why does the accessory building have to be so close to the rear lot line? I heard about the difficulty, but at present there is absolutely no building there. And I do have mature trees close to the lot line that would be impacted by any excavation. So it's a matter of that I'm talking to about the rear lot line.
As far as the construction of the building, is it slab on grade below the garage? Do you know?
It's foundation.
It is a foundation too? Okay. It's like a 4-foot foundation? Okay. So yeah, I hear your concerns, Rosemary, about the trees and go ahead.
Yeah, I've been there since 1996. There is no building there right now. So this is all new, and it's considerably close to the rear lot line.
Okay.
And I have mature trees there already. And not only will the excavation impact their roots, but also underground water flows that are already in place. And I'm concerned also about flooding.
Okay, so we've noted your concerns about the root system, flooding, and the underground irrigation that's already there for the trees. I don't necessarily want to put it back to the applicant now because you've explained why you want to have it back so far. But just to be clear, it's not really, negotiable on bringing it forward in compliance?
Absolutely necessary, then I would and have to navigate whatever I have to make it work.
Right.
But again, anything that would help with the configuration of my property and house and garage. But again, if it impacts, now I could put a slab on grade instead of a foundation wall. That could be a change that I could make
Right.
in order to preserve any root systems and any mature trees. I don't have an issue with that. That change can be made.
Right. Okay, thank you. Anything further to add, Rosemary?
No, that's all. I've documented what I felt about everything.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else in the audience or online that would like to speak to this? Okay, I see none. Just to staff, what's the rear setback? I don't have it in front of me right now. I should have it. How far forward would the garage need to be in compliance? Like, are we talking a couple feet? Half a meter? Okay. So through. It's less than. Yeah. Okay. I like, just now I'm speaking to the committee here. We got that answer. Thank you. I'm in support, but I like this option of a slab on grade rather than a foundation that could cut through some root systems. It's possible. And can we put that on as a condition? We could put that on as a condition, and then you could keep your garage in the position you want it. Would you be okay with that compromise? Okay. Yeah. Any further discussion from the committee?
Could I also suggest a compromise then on the driveway? The concern is the public right-of-way, the access, so something like 8 meters instead of 6, right? So it's a taper, but it's not a big a taper. I mean, Spencer may have a comment about that, but I'll let him add that. But yeah, I would agree. I think there's a double request here, one for height and one for setback. I'd be, slab or not, I think it's still an imposing building that you're increasing the height and pushing it closer to the neighbor, to Rosemary's property. So regardless of the construction style, I think, 0.5 meters, meet the bylaw. If we're going to give you the height request because of the design, then I'd say meet the setback of the rear yard. So take one or the other. I'd say keep the setback with the concrete slab on grade, but that's just my opinion.
So if that's the condition, then that gives me no conditions to put whatever I want in the ground line.
Yeah.
So I can do either a foundation if I'm going.
Well, then you're 1.5 meters back.
Correct.
Right? So,
From the property line.
yes, or sorry, 1.3 is the bylaw.
Right, and it was asking for 7.76.
0.7, so about
Yeah.
half a meter.
Half a meter.
Or,
Yeah, it's less than 2 feet.
yeah.
Okay, Walter, you had your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Chair. There appears to be some ability to, with some flexibility with regard to the driveway entrance within the right-of-way. So what I would recommend is that the condition that was requested by planning to match what the comments were from Public Works, to remove that condition. That way there would be some flexibility with regard to the exact width of the driveway within the right-of-way.
Okay, so to completely take that condition off, we would approve 11.5 meters, and they can work out with Public Works the taper.
Yes, the actual width of the driveway and the culvert that would have to be put in can be regulated 100% through the entrance permit process. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair, it's just a committee question. I'm losing track because there's so many variances here. What are we keeping? What are we getting rid of? We're increasing the to 11.5 meters. We're permitting that to happen. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the.
Driveway?
Yep, we're going to, basically, as it sits right now, we're going to read that motion. You had a minor, is that right, Kevin?
I had a suggestion. Well, it would be whoever makes the motion, how you
Right,
word it.
right. But then as far as what we're changing is the condition is coming off, that the driveway taper. Because the entrance permit is going to deal with how the private driveway connects to the public right-of-way driveway.
So the driveway will still taper.
But we don't know how much. So that would be dealt with in the entrance permit through Public Works. So it doesn't have any bearing on our decision.
My concern are those beautiful trees that are right there. I mean, they're at the very edge of that whole tapering section. I'd like to see those trees have to remain. I'd like that to be part of the condition.
There is actually an issue with one of the trees, with my neighbor, that it's completely encapsulating his wires, so that he actually asked if I was going, if I was going to, again, build a house first and we'll worry about trees. But again, he's got an issue, wires come down every year. So if he was here, he would probably want it down. But again, it's up to it. And I would be totally fine with planting trees if it was necessary to take that down. I have no problem with that.
Okay. Is that okay, Fabia? Makes sense. Your question's answered.
The question's answered. I'm seeing all these trees as we go through Grimsby coming down. It just bothersome to me. But
Yeah.
if, it's a problem tree, then what can I say?
Right.
Thanks.
Okay. Does the committee have a motion? Adam, did you have your hand up? I didn't see that. No? Yeah. Do you want to take the lead on a motion?
I can make
Yeah.
a motion then. It's a long one. Okay, resolve that minor variance application 82725 for 4 George Street to permit a minimum front yard of 8.11 meters, whereas a minimum front yard of 9.11 meters is required based on the average of the two neighboring homes as per section 721 of table 11. To permit a minimum interior side yard setback of 1.25, whereas a minimum interior side yard setback of 1.8 meters is required, as per section 721, table 11 of zoning bylaw 45 as amended, to permit a driveway entrance, which now understand is actually just a driveway on the private property, of 11.5 meters, whereas a maximum driveway entrance of 6 meters is permitted, as per section 4.31E, to permit a maximum lot coverage of 31%, whereas a maximum lot coverage of 25% is permitted, as per section 15, schedule 11A of zoning bylaw as amended, to permit a maximum height of 5.54 meters for an accessory building, whereas a maximum height of 4.5 meters for an accessory building with a peaked roof is permitted, as per section 418, table 2 of the zoning bylaw as amended. I'm skipping the request for a rear lot line accessory dwelling on purpose because of these other variants cumulative. To permit a garage projection of 1.30 meters from the front porch, whereas no part of the garage shall project beyond the front wall of the first story of the dwelling, as per section 429B1 of the zoning bylaw as amended, be approved with no conditions, then removing that request to deal with Public Works. Is my motion.
Okay.
Chair?
Yeah, can you just read that again? I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. To the applicant, are you okay with the way that was read?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So we have a motion on the floor. Does anybody want to second this motion? Yeah, Adam, I see you. Okay, so that's moved by Member Antonitis, seconded by Member Mottershead. We'll put it to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. I see no one opposed, so it is carried. And just note that there is a 20-day appeal period before it becomes legal and binding.
Question before you do. Question for Walter. Because I skipped over that request for the variance, just ignored it completely, that means they just have to comply with the bylaw as it's written for the setback of the rear yard for the accessory dwelling, correct? I mean, it was on the application. We didn't deal with it per se. Do we have to make a separate one to deny that or just ignore it completely, in your opinion?
No, if the resolution doesn't include a reduction for the rear yard for the detached garage, then there's no variance for
Okay.
that application.
All right, just check and make
For
sure.
that part of
everything- Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. The next application we have is A2625 for 38 Morrison Crescent. And I'm going to turn it over to Delahara to present this application.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just going to bring the PowerPoint up. Okay. So the purpose of this application is to construct a sunroom attachment to the existing dwelling. And the variances requested are to permit a reduced minimum interior side yard setback of 2.35 meters, whereas a minimum interior side yard setback of 2.5 meters is required, except for a one-story end unit, and to permit a minimum rear yard setback of 4.34 meters, whereas a minimum rear yard setback of 8 meters is required. This is an image of the site plan, which was circulated along with the notice of hearing. This is an image of the neighborhood for context. These are the current conditions on site. This is what is proposed, the rear elevation and the right elevation, and the left elevation as well, sorry. And these are the agencies that have provided comments. I will summarize those comments for you now. Planning staff have no objection to the approval of the minor variance, subject to the following condition: that the applicant receives Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority approval for the construction of the proposed sunroom. Furthermore, planning staff have reviewed the application in the context of the 4 tests set out under Section 45 of the Planning Act, and are of the opinion that the minor variance meets the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, is appropriate for the development of the lands, and is minor in nature. The NPCA have the following comments. The east of this address is formed by Lake Ontario and its associated regulatory setbacks, the most impactful of which is the erosion hazard setback of Lake Ontario. A permit from our officers will be required following the acceptance of the minor variance. For this reason, the NPCA asks that a condition be applied to the minor variance that the applicants retain an appropriate OREG 41/24 development permit from the officers of the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority for all works proposed within Lake Ontario's regulation distance. There are no further planning fees required for our comments on this minor variance. Public Works staff do not have any comments or conditions, neither does the region. And in addition, 5 letters of objection have been received for this application, and I will summarize the details of the letters for you next. So those 5 letters were received at the time of the publication of the agenda and were published along with the agenda. I have them available, and as mentioned before, I can read them out if anyone wants to go over them, any of them again. The following residents in Grimsby have provided these letters of objection: Rena Valcourt, Rob Laird, Robert and Helen O'Connor, Carol Tuck Riggs, Ellen and Bruce Brown. And to summarize the comments in these letters, the residents expressed the following about the application: bylaw violations and misleading application. The proposed variances at 38 Morrison Crescent would drastically reduce the required rear setback from 8.2 meters to 4.34 meters, eliminating nearly half of the already shallow backyards. The application mislabels the addition as a sunroom when it is in fact a permanent sitting room, despite the property already having extensive lake-facing windows. Number 2, negative impact on neighbors. The proposed addition would block shoreline and horizon views for neighboring homes, number 36 and 40, increase heat and glare, and reduce natural light. The side and rear yard variances would unfairly infringe on neighbors' rights, compounding previous privacy issues created by fences and structures. And finally, they say that it's not minor and it sets harmful precedent. This request is not a minor variance, but a major encroachment that consumes half the backyard space. Approving it would set a dangerous precedent for other townhouses along the strip, undermining existing bylaws, eroding neighborhood character, and potentially leading to more two-story enclosed additions in the future. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is the owner or applicant here? And could you come to the lectern and just speak to the application as the reasons why?
Hi, good evening. My name is Shane Wilson. I'm from 121 Central in Grimsby here. I'm speaking on behalf of my client, Vijaya, who's the homeowner at 38 Morrison Crescent. The reason we are asking for these reductions in our setbacks is so that we can build a new I'm calling it a sunroom because the intent of it is to increase her sitting space where she can have her plants year-round. The point would be we'd have windows off the rear so that she can enjoy the views to the lake. With whatever we're allowed to do on windows on the sides, I still have to calculate those things based on our spatial separations. So the reason is that we have an existing deck that's already there now. We just would love to be able to, set some helical piers just outside of that existing footprint and then build a new sunroom over that space. We have reviewed the written comments from the neighbors and acknowledged the concerns that have been raised, particularly around the views of the lake and the privacy. And we've conducted our own site reviews and taken pictures, and we're having a hard time seeing how what we're proposing would negatively affect the neighbors. There's privacy screens between all of the homes, and you can see on the site plan that all the homes are facing the lake on their own. But we did work with the pre-consultation group with the town of Grimsby, got support through that process, and then when we applied through the minor variance, like you read out the comments, we're actually in support of everything we're looking to do as well. So we feel that it is minor in nature, and it does still fit within the character of these homes that are in this subdivision.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wilson. Is there any questions from the committee at this point? I see none. I have a question. You mentioned putting helical piers around the deck for this build. Is that wider than the current deck or further out than the current deck that's there right now? Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Chair. The helical piers, the deck itself actually has chamfered corners right now. So the intent would be that we would drop the new 2 helical piers just right in those corners to build right over top of the existing footprint.
I see. So it's the existing footprint of the deck is what this sunroom is going to be?
Yes, part of it, yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I see no questions from the committee. So are there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this application? Yeah, there's a few. Okay, so I'll have you have a seat. And yeah, sir, if you want to come up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Bruce Brown. My wife and I, Ellen, live at 40 Morrison Crescent and are directly attached to number 38. We're opposed to the variance for this sunroom sitting room. Our property will be directly affected by the construction as it will further limit our view of the eastern shoreline of Lake Ontario. What I mean by this is that the current location of this room site and the privacy fence that was previously built decreased our view, and if the enclosed room to the roof height is built, even from our second floor windows, will obstruct part of our view of the eastern shore of Lake Ontario. Should these variances be approved, precedents will now be set so that any homeowner on that strip of 10 townhouses, what's holding them back from doing exactly the same thing? If our neighbor on our left, at number 42, that house is currently for sale, if they decide to do this, Ellen and I now will be living in a tunnel, and our view northwest and east will be impeded. It's hard over the next few speakers not to duplicate some of our opinions because everybody has a different reason for appearing here today. But I do want to point out to the committee some questionable points that were declared within the original application. The request is being made for a sunroom, but in fact, within the site plan, it's a sitting room. Within the details of the subject lands, the question was asked, date of construction of all building and structures on the subject land, and the answer was given fall 1996. This is a misleading reply because the extended sun deck upon which the room is to be built was not erected until 2017. Okay. Under the proposed land use, the applicant states that the existing deck does not comply with setbacks. Shouldn't the committee be asking why not? Already, what's there is not in compliance with the bylaws. The applicant states that the existing deck has been there for years and that the neighbors have no concern about it. Well, as a neighbor, I was never asked. It was built. There was nothing that we could do about it. We bought this place in 2017, and we had a clear view of the eastern shoreline, which we don't have today. It was asked by the planning information whether or not minor variances had been applied for before, and the answer was given no. So again, my question is, why not? Was the earlier statement says that the deck and stairways were non-compliant. So I have to assume that the contractor would have had to have a building permit to comply with the bylaws. So another point is moving along to the notice of the hearing. The July 15th notice contained 3 variances. This one on the 19th contains 2 variances. The one on the stairs has been removed. So I'm assuming that those stairs will be removed, or why do they still appear on the site plan? I guess in summation, I'd have to say that Ellen and I are asking the committee to reject this application. The proposed new building will have a direct influence on us, as well as open the door for future variances along the stretch of homes back onto Lake Ontario. The purpose of bylaws is to protect our neighbors from me and to protect me from my neighbors. And that's all we're asking is bylaws are put there for a reason. When we live in townhouses, we know that there is size restrictions, and that's a decision we make when we move there. Thank you very much.
Before you step down, Mr. Brown, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to address a bunch of your questions. I was doing my site visit. I'm just curious. There's cedars between the units, tall cedars. Are those cedars yours, or they are? Okay. Okay, why are they there?
To cover the stairs that go down into the backyard.
Okay. How long of this? You said 2017, the stairs?
2017, yep.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to bring staff in on this. If someone wants to comment to some of these questions, I can ask them out one at a time if you'd like, or if you want to summarize kind of what your thoughts on what Mr. Brown had to say. So Walter, would I be able to call on you? Okay, as far as precedent being set, is that possible? Is that a possibility if we approve this, that we've now approved multiple variances in this, similar to this?
Each, if there's another variance proposed within that subdivision, then whatever's being proposed would have to be reviewed on its own merits based on a conformity with the 4 tests. And we don't take into account what happens somewhere else. We have to look at that property and how that property is or is not compliant with the 4 tests prescribed by the Planning Act.
Okay, thank you. As to Mr. Brown's point, there was 3 variances in the previous circulation. There are 2 variances now. One to do with the stair encroachment has been removed. Can you please speak to that?
Yes, if the addition, sunroom addition is permitted, then the permitted encroachment of the stairs would, so the sunroom would then enable the existing encroachment of the stairs, if you know what I mean. So because that would become the new rear yard, and stairs and decks and things are permitted to encroach into the rear yard. So now instead of having an 8-meter rear yard, you'd have a 4.5-meter rear yard, approximately. So then that, by virtue of that being the new rear yard, the encroachment provisions in our zoning bylaw for decks, stairs, and balconies and canopies would permit the stairs where they are.
Okay, thank you. So just for me to fully understand that, if the committee sees it that this not be approved, the stairs are then not compliant? That is correct.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is anyone else in the audience want to come and speak to this application as well? Yeah, please step up and just give your name and address for the committee. Thank you.
I'm Carol Tuck Riggs, and I live at 44 Morrison, which is 3 away from 38. 2 away from Mr. and Mrs. Brown. Okay. I want to redress a couple of things that have been said already, and then I'll iterate some of the things about, I don't want to say over again what has already been read out by your person and Bruce. I understand that the precedent comment, but it is, I'm going to ask you a question. Is it easier once someone else has done it, that someone else can put forward a variance request? And because we could cite number 38, we could have it as well. So it is a bit of a slippery slope when you set a precedent like this. Another redress, the plants year-round requirement or request for the lake views. Currently, we have, as an end unit, I have an end unit as well, we currently have about 60 feet of window onto the lake. We have a main floor of about 30 feet, a walkout patio to the lake level of another about 25 feet, and then another 6 feet on the loft level. So we have about 60 feet of window right now on our end units, which is what 38 is as well, to the lake for plants. The drawing shows a very small window on the east side and west side of the proposed sitting room. That's not going to allow too much light in anyway, and then the one bigger window on the front. So I question whether 60 feet is not enough already. That's my redress. We have very small yards. The 8-meter setback is just about our yard in full. So to put a 4.14 meter addition, permanent addition on one of our houses leaves about half of that small space for yard. One comment you asked, sorry, I'm going to redress again. You asked, would this addition be put on existing platform or the existing feet of the now deck? And it was explained that there will have to be something made proud of it for the corners. When you said, would this be just on the footprint of the existing deck? The answer was, and I think, I'm not sure, maybe it was missed, yes, part of it. That was the answer, yes, part of it. Part of the new one will be on the existing deck. I leave it at that.
Okay, thank you, Carol.
No, I'm not finished.
Oh,
That was my
leave that one at that.
Sorry, I'm not finished.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yep.
If, it's kind of a question, but a comment. If this goes through and there's 4.34 meters left of setback, which is almost our yard, the rest of it, there's a current bylaw that says we can put a 2.5 meter deck proud of a permanent wall. So if that becomes the permanent wall, does that then say that another 2.5 meters of open deck can be put on to that permanent wall? That's a question, and I think that would leave 6 feet to the public fence. I do want to say, and it's in addition to what Mr. Brown has said, because Pat and Ron are sitting here in front, and they live at number 40, so the other side of 38, and they aren't speaking, they're asking. I am. So this addition, yes, it will block Bruce and Ellen further from the eastern exposure to the lake side, the beach. For Pat and Ron, it will eliminate the western horizon totally. They won't have anything. If there were more windows in this addition, there would also be a problem with heat reflection and refraction going into their yard, which is health and safety. Criterion 3 and 4, in our opinion, are violated. 3 says, desirable and appropriate for the development and use of the land. We don't have much land as it is. It's very small. So this addition, which is proud of, would impact 36 and 40, but also, in my opinion, you're going to be asked for more variances for the 12 little houses that are there. We already have a lot of window on all our houses, and I don't believe that a wish of one resident should supersede all the people that are here, and another one just came from work. 3 people are missing, or 3 houses are missing who came on July, and they're on away, so they couldn't come tonight. But there were more people here for July 15th, or 12th, sorry. I think if we start building like that against our houses, it's going to look hodgepodgey. I think it's going to lower our property values. And in case I'll tell you something, we all pay between $7,600 and $9,000 property tax a year. We have some rights, I think, to the privacy, the health and safety, and the right to please ask you to maintain the variances, the bylaws that are in place. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking. Right away, I agree, and I had that similar question to town staff. With a 4.34 meter setback, is there now a potential deck encroachment in that small of a backyard?
Yes, there is. So that would be the new rear yard setback requirement. And then for a deck, another 2.5 meter encroachment would be permitted beyond that point. But that could be rectified with a condition of approval.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience that want to speak to this application? Yeah, come on up to the lectern and just state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Catherine Houston. I'm at 30 Morrison Crescent. Oh, I'm on the camera. So at 30 Morrison Crescent, I don't directly back onto the lake, so my perspective is actually from using the municipal park in the back. And my perspective is also following the 4 tests of variance and speaking to, I guess, everybody from different town and NPCA provided their perspective of why they thought it didn't meet the 4 tests, so it was fine. I do have some notes. So just talking about the variance, I actually do think it's a large variance, mainly on the visual intrusion side of things. When we look to the official town plan, there is a talk about vistas, there is a talk about preserving our public waterfront as well. If you're familiar with the municipal space beyond there, it's like 30 meters. I just did it on Google Maps right now, so it might not be totally true. We actually just beautified it. We have beautiful new swings there, and it's an opportunity for the rest of our residents that are in the area to enjoy that green space. And I think this actually encroaches on that visual space for several reasons. Mainly the height of it. Like, I don't know if I'd have an issue if it was on the main floor, but it's on the second floor. If you can envision it, I don't know if a visual has been shared. It really is because it's a walkout, it's taking that second level out, up and over. And I do see a lot of people out there enjoying this space. It's actually used by people from all over the region when they have their tries out there. Sometimes I wake up and celebrate those, sometimes I don't. So I think it's really a loss of the visual corridor there for people enjoying the municipal space. Desirable and appropriate for development use of land. Again, I'm not a planner. I'm not working for municipal land use. However, I do think that the open rear yards, especially when we talked about the setback, it really encumbers the unobstructed view that we're really hoping for in our municipal area. And it is an enclosed space. So again, I think we've talked a bit about what constitutes a sunroom. It does seem enclosed. It does seem like it's truly an addition. I don't know if there is like an official definition between sunroom and addition. So I do think, sorry, I actually literally ran from work. And honestly, like whatever the end of this is, it is like we're all neighbors, but it's just a perspective I think that's a bit different that's been shared today. I'm not a direct neighbor, but I do enjoy the rear space that's behind there. So talking about maintaining the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. So we have light access and privacy that's been spoken about, but I think the visuals separation and honestly the aesthetics as well, which I appreciate is very subjective, is a component. When you look back and you see there's such small backyards to begin with. So if you're bringing that house back into that 30 meters of yard to enjoy as a public, defeats the purpose of enjoying water space. We don't have as much waterfront as other municipalities for the public to enjoy. This is another opportunity for us to preserve that aesthetic. The final, and I spoke to this a bit, doesn't maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan. The official plan speaks to preserving waterfront character, speaks to natural vistas, and talks about compatible development. And I think I spoke to some reasons why I don't feel like the current proposal meets that. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak to this? Yeah, come on up.
Good evening. I'm Bob O'Connor. I'm at 54 Morrison Crescent at the other end of the park. We are beyond the scope we never received this, so I'm looking at someone else's copies now to see what's happening. I was told that rather than having the A frame over only part of the deck, that the people came and they asked about it, they said that, no, it was going to enclose the whole deck. Now, I'm not sure, is it going to be just the 40% of the deck as a new sunroom, or is it going to enclose the total amount of the whole deck? That's one question. If that's the case, what's going to happen to the stairs that are at the other end? The application before said that there's going to be an application to erect stairs into the park to accommodate the deck. Those stairs are already there. Are those stairs going to remain in the structure as part of the whole deck, or is it going to be only half the deck is showing as a deck? You know, these are things I don't know.
Just to be clear on your question, when you say the whole deck, are you meaning like the width of the back of the house? The deck from east to west, or just the section that is kind of bumped out in the back? Just so when I ask, I just want to be clear on that one.
Yeah, so it's not a big square box right across the back of the house. Okay? I agree with Bruce's comment that if you let unrestricted or permitted changes to the back of the houses, that it's going to be a hodgepodge, like a sawtooth part. Some will have extensions out, others will be in a tunnel if they don't build onto their own house, and the other person will be inside. And I think bylaws were put in place by reasonable people who looked at the situation and said that these are townhouses. Privacy is limited to begin with. And if you start allowing people to put extensions out into between them, then the people in between here are going to be further restricted. So I think it's going to lower the values of our properties. And I don't think it's going to be an aesthetic looking situation if we allow, let me say, willy-nilly adding sections back and forth to our houses. So in that sense, you know, I'll leave it at that.
Thank you for your comments or your questions, and I will have the applicant address those. But before I do that, is there anyone else that would like to speak to this? Yeah? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, come to the lectern and just give your name and address for the record.
Is it Mr. Chairman? Anyway, my name is Barb Stewart, and I'm located at 50 Morrison Crescent, okay? Just listening to everybody's comments and input here, I strongly feel that putting a sunroom, a permanent fixture, onto a deck will certainly reflect the hodgepodge approach, as was stated before. And of course, it does block our view. And I want to tell you about my taxes. I pay 10 installments, okay? And my taxes, I guess the mill rate was set, and it's been changed to $850, which is quite considerable when you consider that's over 10 installments. But the thing is, I've lived there. I'm one of the originals, like Bob is too. And I've been there. I'm just entering my 28th year. And it's been a wonderful time. My husband's been gone 8 years. But anyway, it's been a wonderful place to live and having a nature park. But now we do have swing set. That's fine. I don't mind children playing in that. But the view is very important, left or right and straight on, right? So I really feel that, yeah, we shouldn't be going ahead with a precedent of putting a sunroom in. What is the definition of a sunroom? Is it a permanent fixture? Is it going to be winterized as well? These are questions that come to my mind too. So what I'd like to say is, please, I think most of us do not want a sunroom and changes made on our decks, okay? We want to be able to see everywhere. and not to be boxed in. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mrs. Stewart. Anyone else like to speak to this? Okay, I'll just invite the applicant to come up. If you would like to address some of the comments, and then I'll have some questions for you after your comments.
Okay. Good evening, Council. My name is Vijaya Kantipulli. I'm the owner of 38 Morrison Crescent. So I've been there more than 20 years as well. It's not I'm just moved in there. So I do value the property, and I'm concerned about our neighbors' concern too, value of the property. It is important for me too. So I just have a few pictures I've taken from 3040 and 3634. So what their concern is sunroom is going to block their lake view. So I've taken some clear pictures, and I'm going to have some brief explanation how it's going to look at the clear view and the blocking. Yeah. Sure, I'm just going to press on with I'm going to just explain each picture. So the picture one, that is the view from the ground level where proposed sunroom will be. So it just I've taken where the bump out deck part of is, right? So that is the sunroom part. The picture two is a view from ground level where proposed proximity to 40 Morrison on the right side. So that's what the Bruce and Ellen were. So they're part of the 40. Picture three is the furthest point of deck from the neighboring house, 40 Morrison. Specifically, I circled the large tree on the picture three, already obstructing significant portion of their view. It is not going to be the sunroom. They have to really peek in and lean into sunroom to look at the view. It's already their trees are blocking, trees and bushes. And picture four I got. So Shane, actually, we designed it very carefully, placement sunroom, very carefully considering minimizing the obstruction of the neighbor's view. So we were very mindful of that when we designed that. The existing deck from neighbor from 40 Morrison, it clears the line of sight past to the proposed structure, the line drawn on that picture. So it is no way that obstructing the sunroom is going to be for Bruce and Ellen, for 40 Morrison. Yeah. And picture 5 and 6, where the view from ground level further, it clearly cites the lake is, the sunroom is not going to be obstructed, propose the building, but rather by their own trees in the bushes in their front. It is, I don't have bushes in the front. They do. The tall, big trees and the bushes in their front. So that's where the line that picture 5 and 6 shows. The picture 7 is view from the ground level, further clarity that trees are planted on 40 Morrison, potentially obstructing their own view. So this is where they're worried about, the sunroom is going to obstruct. It is not the sunroom. Yeah. So picture 8 and 9, I'm talking about 36 Morrison. 36 Morrison where Pat and Ron live on my right side. So from their property, the trees and bushes were planted already on 36 Morrison, which is blocking my lake view as well, with their big trees and bushes from 36 Morrison property, right? And I got picture 10, where you can see the clear existing deck, how the neighbor yard is, 36 Morrison is. Their view is very directly to, and their trees are blocking towards the northwest of it. It is not going to be the sunroom. And picture 11, the 34 Morrison, 34 Morrison structure is nowhere in the view of sunroom. I've shown in the picture 36 and 34 Morrison clearly shows the line of sight lake is not obstructed by the proposed building. And also, I wanted to reference 41 Morrison already has a sunroom. So it is not just new what Margaret was saying. This is going to change the townhome properties, values, and there is already sunroom exist in Morrison, 41 Morrison. I just wanted to make that clearly. Yeah?
41?
41, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if I'm blocking the neighbors, I do concerned about our neighbors' concern. If I'm blocking their view, I wouldn't be doing this. With all this work, what Shane and Mike, I wouldn't spend all that money to do it. Yeah, that's my request. Yeah, so I'm confident. I mean, you are there taking the pictures. I would request to assess your own judgment for the approval. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add, Mr. Wilson?
I just wanted to, I guess, confirm that we are looking to build the sunroom, or the sitting room, I guess it would be called, in the existing area of the deck that is projected out, shown on the site plan. We're looking at a 21.38 square meter space that we want to add to the back of the home. The existing 6-foot projection of the deck that's on the home now with the stairs would all be just stayed as is kind of thing.
Okay, thank you. That addresses Mr. O'Connor's questions about will it enclose the whole deck? You say no. It's just going to be built on the projected section. Will the stairs remain? Yes, they will. As access stairs, the stairs would then be in compliance. Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions right now? Yeah, go ahead.
Question, Mr. Chair. The way the variance is written, maybe staff can advise me, it's just a general reduction in the minimum rear yard setback. It doesn't talk about restricting it to the sunroom footprint as shown in the plans. It just says the request is to reduce the rear yard. So it could technically, once this is approved, occur anywhere across the back of that and the whole extent of the back of the house. Correct?
That is correct. So again, this is something that could be addressed through conditions.
Any other questions from the committee?
Just further to that,
please.
Would that also impact lot coverage at all? Is there a lot coverage impact on this request? Or if the general request is for a variance setback across the entire back of the house, that could impact the lot. I don't know what the zoning coverage is or maximum coverage is.
Yeah, you're correct. So if it exceeded the minimum or maximum lot coverage requirement, then another variance would be required.
And then one more question, sorry, follow up to that. The stairs were requested originally because they encroached into the rear yard beyond what was permitted. If this variance is denied, would they have to then come back and recognize those stairs because they would still encroach beyond what they're permitted?
That's correct. And I believe the deck also is beyond what's permitted. The 2.5 meter encroachment is permitted for a deck. I believe the existing deck is a little bit more than that.
So then through to the owner, Mr. Chair, how did the deck get constructed illegally? Who was the contractor the first time? When was it built?
It was built since I moved in.
So prior to you owning it?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know I've been on this committee a long time.
We did all the glass work.
You did the
and
glass?
stairs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it, but I'm not going to get into that argument now. But it exists, so it would have to be recognized. If these variances aren't approved, they would have to be recognized, or another variance would have to be applied. But I was on this committee a long time, and I do recall there was another variance request for a deck further down to the west. I don't know what number it was anymore, probably 10 years ago. And that brought out a lot of neighbors, if I recall. And that was for an extension to the deck on the second level. I don't know whose house that was. Maybe it's somebody here, but 48? Okay. And I can't remember what the outcome was, but I remember it was a big crowd. He had a deck down. Okay, that's what, yeah, I do recall it was a nasty meeting as well. So, okay, that's my questions for now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Through the chair, I have a question. You mentioned there is another sunroom. I didn't see it when I was back there. Do you have any pictures of it? Do you have pictures?
41.
It's on the other side of the street, other side, on the other side of the street.
Oh, it's on, not on the lake side, it's on the.
Sorry, just for the folks online, well, Adam, they're just saying that it's on the other side of the street. He can only hear through the mics.
So it's on the other side of the street, and that's where there's a green space back there. Okay, all right, that's why I didn't see it. Thank you.
Adam, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, just some general concern about the application is that these are hazard lands, and the official plan generally says to direct development and site alteration away from these types of lands, and it's also part of the natural heritage system. So another issue I had was with the staff report. There was, in looking at the tests, 3 of the 4 are all dependent on NPCA approval, and at this point there is no NPCA approval, so it's kind of a logic thing. How have the tests been met if there's no NPCA approval at this point? Thanks.
Walter, would you like to address that, please?
The Conservation Authority did not express any concerns at this time, but the NPCA approval will be primarily dependent on whether the hazard of the Lake Ontario shoreline will be a problem for the proposed addition. So they're mainly dealing with the hazard nature of Lake Ontario shoreline, and what they recognize is that there's a dynamic beach here. It's not an area where there's a significant amount of erosion occurring, but it's in an area where they're required to check to make sure that the conditions are like they are, no erosion, and we don't anticipate any concerns from the Conservation Authority. And they haven't expressed any concerns through the circulation of the application.
Yeah, Sarup, go ahead.
Through your chair, I also just want to note that the NPCA notes that they require the minor variance approval first. So their process often works with our approval first for them to issue their permit.
Okay, thank you. Now, there was some folks I was told over here that may want to come back up to speak. Sure, yeah, we'll give you some time on the mic, absolutely. If you want to just take a seat and you can come up.
I don't speak too well. I'm breaking in some new dentures. The reason I'm talking to you now is that she's referring to us, painting the picture of being good neighbors. We are not good neighbors. I'm a good neighbor. She is not a good neighbor.
Now, speaking of you, can you just, sorry, sir, just your name and address for the record, if you wouldn't mind. Just your name and address, because we record that for the minutes.
My name is Ron France. I live in 36 Morrison. As a matter of fact, and it is on the record somewhere, several years ago, she was approached by someone from the city and told to clean up her backyard that looked like the city dump.
Okay.
It still does. So we're not good neighbors. I'm trying to tell you that what she's proposing is not going to look good. That's about all I have to say.
Thank you for taking the time to speak.
Oh, by the way, she was told to clean up her yard, or she would be fined. So she had no choice.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I just want to say that she blocks us already with her stairs. We look out the windows, that's what we see. If she puts another room there, we won't be able to see anything. So it doesn't make any sense. We've been there since 1997, and we don't want to leave because of this stuff. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, would you like to speak? Please come up to the lectern.
Hi, my name is Paula Davies Barlow. I'm a friend of VJ's. I live at Sunnylee Crescent in Grimsby. Just a comment to rebut a comment. I've been friends with VG for over 20 years. I've never seen her house look like a dump. I've never seen her property look unkept. Sometimes we have overgrown areas that we tend to, but she's always in her yard, and I don't like to hear my friend being spoken about that way. That's something I've never witnessed in my 20 years.
Thank you. Yeah. Adam, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, I guess just maybe the general comment that a lot of talk about view, and it's the planning principle that there's no right to a view unless you buy the property. So, yeah, just sort of the going back and forth between the view is kind of redundant because of the basics of planning and the right to a view.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, please come up to the lectern. Yeah. But before you speak, yeah, just to the microphone. Come on up.
It's about the erosion. When we had that very large storm 5 years ago, the lake, in fact, eroded the bank that came up that high and that strongly. You know, when they had to, in Niagara on the Lake, they had to put all the stones and everything. So the lake does come up and went right to the roots, and a couple of trees fell over. So that does happen at that beach. And as the climate changes, we expect there'll be more.
Thank you. Sure, yeah, come on up.
My name is David Kington. My wife and I, Diana, we live at 29 Morrison, which is across the street from this. One minor comment, I look out my front window, the only place I can see the lake is where this building will now be. So that's minor, but I have sympathy for the people who live on either side of this because they're going to get blocked. I have questions and concerns about the town guys that say that these things don't matter to the town. This is what I'm hearing, is that it's not going to have a significant impact on the town and their operation of it. We as ratepayers here and as citizens, we look to the town to enforce the rules that they've made, that the town fathers before, I've only been here for 6 years, but the town fathers that were here first, they made these rules for reasons at the time that were reasonable. And I think they're still reasonable. So for someone to, in this instance, build something within 6 or 7 years ago that was not to code, and now come and say, well, we kind of need to ask for permission for it. Also to hear that if you get the variance on this building, that the stuff that they've done will now become within that line. To me, it just seems ridiculous. We all have faith that the system works for the benefit of the majority of us who are just trying to live our lives in peace. But then someone comes in and says, I want more than everybody else is supposed to get, and we're supposed to let them have it while we go, I guess we just lost out. We didn't ask, we didn't shout loud enough for it. And I think we're a bunch of old folks here that believe the system should help us, not someone who's asking for something that isn't lawful. David Kington, 29 Morrison. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Kington. Any further comments from the committee? Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me just switch on to my other screen here. Yeah, I'm just going to give my comments sort of just in general and just through the analysis of the 4 tests. If this application were for a single detached home on a larger lot, I probably wouldn't have any issue with it. But because it is in a townhouse development where the yards are smaller, the spacing between the homes is smaller, I think this is where these variances actually have a larger impact than, like I say, if they were on a larger home. So I've got some notes here about the 4 tests, so I'll just go through them. And for the official plan, the rear yard is in a hazard overlay and natural heritage system. As I mentioned earlier, the intent of in the OP for hazard lands is to direct development and site alteration away from these areas. So permitting development or site alteration contradicts the OP's intent in this regard. The zoning bylaw. The backyard, rear yard reduction is about 45%. And it's a sizable decrease, especially, like I say, again, in a townhouse development. So the intent of ensuring there's adequate outdoor amenity space as per the OP is not met because you're basically cutting in half already a small yard. And then when it comes to desirability, the appropriate development is limiting development into hazard areas and natural heritage systems, not seeking relief to build into them. The owner may find it desirable to build a sunroom there, but from a public interest perspective, I don't think it is. It's a luxury addition and not essential housing. So this test isn't met either. And for the last test of a minor variance, the 45% change in the rear yard setback with the side yard reduction is numerically and visually impactful. So the cumulative effects are amplified, again, by, as I said, as a townhouse development. And the staff report didn't really address issues of privacy or overlook. So those are some of my concerns as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone else in the committee? Go ahead.
Through your chair, I have a few concerns, and, I was listening to all these compelling arguments, the owner and the people that live around the owner. I just don't think I can support this whole application. And for one of the reasons, because it is a townhouse stretch, it's not single homes, I think building this deck will not only intrude on a lot of the space around that is the neighbors, I think them sitting on their bottom. There are 2 backyard areas. There's a backyard area, a flat area, then there's an upper area that I noticed. If you're sitting underneath and you're looking up, you're seeing this big imposing cantilevered structure above you. I think that's unsightly. I just think looking at it from a precedent setting, I just think that it opens us up to a lot of really odd building of the back. And it's, when I walked back there, it looked like a beautiful community. Everybody took care of their properties. You could see that people are living back there and enjoying all that space in the back. I totally get why the owner would want to build this, but then I totally think that it's not going to fit into the existing. I think the proposed build will not fit into what is existing. And one of the tests is this desirable for the appropriate development of the land? I don't feel it is. I feel that it's protruding unnaturally out. That open space underneath is kind of an uncomfortable space. I think maybe if it was built on the main floor and it didn't impede the views from the people that were living on their second floor, maybe that would be a little bit more acceptable. But I think that it's the fact that it's it's sort of raised above everything, makes it undesirable for me. So there are my points. I just wanted to add that to my committee.
Thank you. You got,
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll kind of reiterate what Adam and Faye have already said. I agree. I can't really support this application for the same reasons, primarily being, like Adam said, it's a townhouse development. You're in close quarters to begin with. It's amplified by the fact you've got a second-story request, so it is going to be a large, imposing structure. You've got small backyards to begin with. This is going to leave it with a very small one after that. So the impact, in my opinion, would not make this request desirable nor appropriate for the development use of the property. It doesn't meet the intent of the official plan or zoning bylaw and is not minor in nature when you look at the numerical request, but the impact of that request. I know staff have supported this request, but I think after hearing the verbal evidence given for the people most impacted, I would have to agree with their opinion and deny this request. But, and also the fact that it opens it up entirely. The way it's written here, it allows the entire backyard to be extended to the full request. Like the reduction could be the entire back of the house. So I know we can tighten it down with conditions, but I'm not convinced that these conditions are going to be enough given what's proposed on the second floor in a townhouse community. So I can't support it, but that does leave us with a problem that the existing deck and stairs then become non-compliant. So the request, I mean, it was circulated originally. We have the people impacted. We didn't really talk about it separately, but I'm going to suggest if these variances are denied, that we consider the variance to recognize the existing decks and stairways. Not ideal. We don't like to approve things after they're built. It's been there for a long time. I think people are maybe used to it or have accommodated it somehow, but I'm going to suggest anyways that maybe to use a metaphor from a previous variance that we throw them a bone and approve that variance after if the first ones that are requested are denied. So.
Okay, thank you for those comments. I'm going to defer that one now to staff. Is that a possibility, or would it have to be circulated?
Yeah, the variance essentially was to permit the addition that was being proposed, not to recognize the existing deck. So I believe another variance application would have to be made, and another circulation would have to be done.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion from the committee? Someone want to read it out? Yeah, Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Just give me a second. Let me just tab into it here. So the motion would be resolved that a minor variance A2625 for 38 Morrison Crescent to permit a reduced minor interior side yard setback of 2.35 meters, whereas a minimum interior side yard setback of 2.5 meters is required, except for a one-story end unit, as per site-specific zoning 240, Section 7, Table 12 of Zoning Bylaw 1445 as amended, and to permit a minimum rear setback of 4.3 meters. Let me just move the window. Whereas a minimum rear yard setback of 8 meters is required as per site-specific zoning 240 of Section 7, Table 12 of Zoning Bylaw 1445 as amended, be refused, as the variances don't meet the intent of the official plans, the zoning bylaw. It's not desirable for the development of the lands, and it's not minor, and it's for the reasons that I specified earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion?
I'll second.
You're going to second the motion? So it's moved by Member Mottershead, seconded by Member Antonitis, that the application be refused. So we'll put this to a vote. All in favor of the refusal, raise your hand or say aye. I see none against, so then that motion is carried. But note, there is the 20-day appeal period before it becomes legal and binding. Thank you. So, yep, you're welcome to stay, but you're also free to go, and we'll move on to the next application. Okay. We're going to move on to our last application of the evening, and that is A1825 for 10 Baker Road South. And I'll turn it over to Dilhara for a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the purpose of this application is to convert the existing basement into 2 apartments. The variances requested are to permit 2 secondary dwelling units within a single detached dwelling, whereas 1 secondary suite per dwelling is permitted. To permit a secondary suite solely within a cellar, whereas a secondary suite is not permitted within a cellar. To permit a reduced parking space of 2.60 meters in width and 5.60 meters in length, whereas parking spaces are required to be 2.75 meters in width and 5.75 meters in length. To permit a secondary driveway to accommodate 2 new parking spaces in the front yard of the property, whereas driveways are not permitted in the front yard. And to permit a total combined width of all driveway entrances at a street line of 12 meters, whereas a total combined width of all driveway entrances at a street line shall not exceed 6 meters. This is an image of the site plan, which was circulated along with the notice of hearing. This is an image of the neighborhood for context. These are the current conditions on site. And these are the agencies that have provided comments, and I will summarize those comments for you now. Planning staff have no objections to the minor variances proposed by the applicant. These variances are also in keeping with the recently approved amendments in the town's official plan and zoning bylaw, respecting additional residential units that are currently in the appeal period. Staff have reviewed the application under Section 45 of the Planning Act and are of the opinion that the minor variances meet the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, are desirable for the appropriate development of the lands, and are minor in nature. Public Works staff do not have any conditions but mention the following comment. Public Works only permits 1 driveway entrance per lot with a maximum width of 6 meters total. Public Works is not in support of a secondary driveway. However, due to site-specific constraints and details, Public Works would issue an entrance permit for a second entrance. The region or the NPCA do not have any comments. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. As the owner or applicant here, and can you please step to the lectern, give your name and address for the record, and speak to the reasons for the variances?
Yes, my name is Gord Griffiths. I'm the applicant, or I'm the agent for the owner and the applicant. We submitted this application to a previous committee meeting. I think it was June 14th. We had basically received all positive comments from the committee as well as staff, but we did have some comments raised at that meeting from the public. We asked for a deferral, which we received. We went and met with as many of the public as we could, or the neighbors as we could. We've redesigned the application with the secondary drive-through. The issue on the first submission was the use of tandem parking to achieve the parking ratio. So we've approached it with a second drive-through, which engineering now is supporting. And we've gotten positive comments from the neighbors with respect to this application. So I think we've done what we can to address any concerns that were raised, and I think we've got a reasonable approach to satisfying the concerns.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the committee?
No, actually, I think it's just a comment, Mr. Chair. I applaud the applicant, their representative, for going through the process and putting up with the deferral and meeting with staff and the public to kind of resolve this. So I think it's a good compromise after what we went through in the previous meeting. I think this is a good solution for it. So it's and I did happen to find a second driveway, or a house having two driveways just down the street at 21 Baker too, coincidentally. But I think in this case, I mean, I know staff aren't in favor of it, and we all aren't generally, but in this case, I think it works because of the corner and it's a quiet street. So I am definitely in support of this application as it's been revised and presented.
Thank you. And just to confirm, the two driveways, Mr. Pierce, is that's okay?
Yeah, so as long as committee supports it, we'll support the second entrance permit.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the committee? No? Anybody like to speak against or for? Okay, I'm going to put it back to there's no one online, so I'll put it back to the committee for a motion.
I can do that, Mr. Chair. Okay, resolve that minor variance application A1825 for 10 Baker Road South to permit two secondary dwelling units within a single detached dwelling, whereas one secondary suite per dwelling is permitted, as per section 419A of the zoning bylaws, amended to permit a secondary suite solely within a cellar, whereas a secondary suite is not permitted within a cellar, as per section 419D of the bylaws amended, and to permit a reduced parking space of 2.6 meters in width and 5.6 meters in length, whereas parking spaces are required to be 275 meters in width and 575 meters in length, as per section 5.6 table 4 of the bylaw, to permit a secondary driveway to accommodate two new parking spaces in the front yard of the property, whereas driveways are not permitted in the front yard, as per section 431G of zoning bylaws amended, and to permit a total combined width of all driveway entrances at a street line of 12 meters, whereas total combined width of all driveway entrances at a street line shall not exceed 6 meters, as per section 431H of zoning bylaw as amended, be approved with no conditions. The reasons being it's minor in nature. It meets the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and is, in this case, is appropriate for the desirable and appropriate use of the property.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Yep, Fabia. So it's moved by member Antonitis, seconded by member Billing. So let's put this to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. I see no one opposed. It is approved. Just note the 20-day appeal period moving forward. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for your help.
Yep. Okay, so is there any other further business for the committee? Training. We can talk about, yeah, go ahead. An update for training. Dilhara will give us one.
Yeah, so part of the training that we want to do is regarding the official plan that's going to be coming out relatively soon. Relatively soon. So, but the training won't be, we won't be able to do the training until that is first presented to council, which is going to be in September. And we were thinking October meeting for the training. And along with that, I think we're going to include some training about the additional residential units that have, like the laws that have come out about that as well. So those are the two topics right now that are on the agenda for the training.
I have one question through the chair. Should the training be on a different night if it's going to encompass more than an hour? We never know how long these are going to go.
Yes, the training has to be done in closed session, is the only thing. So I can ask if we can do it on a different night. Is that sort of everyone's consensus to have it on a different night?
What does everybody feel?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you never know how long.
right.
Yeah, to play it safe, I think a different night would be the better option.
Okay.
Okay, I'll take that back and let our team know.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there may be an opportunity if there's a very light agenda for one of the meetings. I wouldn't close the door to having it on the same night. Like if we have one or two applications one night and they're going to take 15, 20 minutes, then you don't have to come back another time. So I'm just suggesting that if there's a night that's like that, that might be a better option than coming back another completely different night. So anyway,
I think we already have a mover and a seconder on this. Just kidding. No, that's a good, I agree with that.
Yeah, so we can play it by ear, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any other business? I see none. So the next meeting for the Committee of Adjustment will be held September 16th, 2025. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.